This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and welcome back to your Sunday edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel. And let me tell you know what? Yesterday, the day before, two very interesting days in Edmonton Oilers land, and here we have ourselves on day 3 of NHL Free Agency, now starting to sit back and look and evaluate exactly what Ken Holland has done with the Edmonton Oilers roster in 2 days of free agency and a draft. And my friends, it looks very, very good. You know what? Yeah, despite Mike Smith, and that's right there in the title, I'm not sitting here claiming I'm a huge fan of the Mike Smith signing, but despite the Mike Smith signing, it is a blowout win on paper for Ken Holland and the Edmonton Oilers with what they have achieved in free agency this year. Now, this is a free agency, I think, unlike a lot of free agencies for the Edmonton Oilers. Not only do they get that third line center right shot guy that we've been looking for I don't know, and not just some guy that's going to throw in there and do the job. No, somebody that's proven at being capable of doing said job and is very well suited to do said job in Kyle Turris. And then you have the hometown discount. Or not really. It's not a hometown discount, but it's a discount. Yeah, see? Still, we're talking about a guy taking a discount to come play in Edmonton, that being Tyson Barrie, 1 year, $3.75 million against the cap. That's a hell of a steal. Not saying that Tyson Barrie's the defender I wanted or Tyson Barrie's the perfect defender for the Oilers, but he's a guy that's going to definitely, on this kind of show me, prove me contract, allow himself the room to grow, the room to get those points back up, and the room to contribute to the Oilers the way that contract should allow him to. And then you have the Mike Smith contract. And really, what were the other options out there at the time when Ken Holland finally signed Mike Smith? You had Jimmy Howard, you had Aaron Dell, you had a couple other guys that really weren't any better than Mike Smith. So going with something that you already know what you're getting, right? Why torture fans with something new when you can torture fans with something that they already know what they're getting into? And that's what I'd look at it, is we know what we're getting into with Mike Smith, and you start talking about a 60-65 start percentage for Mikko Koskinen, and suddenly things are a-okay with having Mike Smith as the designated backup this season. So that covers the big guys up front, except for Tyler Ennis, who, guys, 4 points in 9 games after getting back to the Oilers here. Talk about a hometown discount. There it is, $1 million for Tyler Ennis. That is 36 points he is most likely capable of producing based on his limited time with the Oilers last year in our lineup this upcoming season in an 82-game season. So that'd be fantastic. But with that, guys, what I want to say, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and let's get into the exact numbers here. Ken Holland had very little cap space to work with, all right? Just about 8.7, and he's kind of stretched it here into these guys. The bottom 3 guys, don't exactly count them against the cap. That's kind of the tricky part here, is they're in the minors, so their full salaries don't count, and that's probably where you fit in right below that 8.7 number. So Tyler Ennis, 1 year, $1 million cap hit. Kyle Turris, 2 years, $1.65 million cap hit. That is prime, right? You get a guy who's looking to rebound and looking to get the job done. And, well, $1.65 million cap hit, that's going to be just dandy for the Oilers the next 2 seasons, right? You have somebody committed to figure out your roster next season. And if at worst, you lose them in the expansion draft to the Seattle Kraken, right? There's a guy. There's a guy you can talk about losing in the expansion draft. Tyson Barrie, 1 year, $3.75 million cap hit. Gorgeous contract for the caliber of offensive defenseman Tyson Barrie is. Mike Smith, 1 year, $1.5 to $2 million. Depends on his performance bonuses. It will likely be closer to $1.5 million. So please keep that in mind. We're not exactly paying Mike Smith $2 million hard against the cap. It could be as low as $1.5 million. And then you have Alan Quine, 0.75 or $750,000 against the cap. He's in the minors, so that shouldn't fully count. Kind of similar to think about Marcus Granlund. I was going to say Michael Granlund. Marcus Granlund this year. Seth Griffith, two-way contract in the minors, don't count it. Anton Forsberg, same exact thing for the goaltending situation, organizational number 3. So you get to a total spent, the maximum the Oilers have spent in the past 2 days of free agency to renovate winging depth, centerman depth, defensive depth, and a backup goalie, plus some minor league depth, right? We cleaned house in the minor leagues. Keith Gretzky let some guys go, told Holland not to re-sign them, not being like Josh Curry, Nolan Vesey, Keegan Lowe, all those guys. Well, you know what? Here you go. You've got Alan Quine, Seth Griffith, and an organizational number 3 goalie for the Edmonton Oilers. And yeah, situationally, we spent $10.55 million if Mike Smith achieves his bonuses. That is the maximum against the cap that the first 2 days of free agency have cost us, and the Edmonton Oilers addressed every single need across the board in the organization, right? We needed a third-line centerman. We needed a defenseman that was going to put up points in place of Clefbaum, quarterback the power play. That's Tyson Barrie. We needed a backup goaltender. Yes, everybody wanted a 1A. Well, guess what? You know what? The 1As or the ones were costing $4 to $6 million, which right here would have cost us a lot of these guys. So guess what? We go out, get Mike Smith, a product we know, and even despite that, Ken Holland has a fantastic day or two in NHL free agency. Goes out there and completely changes the depth, the complexion, the ability of the Edmonton Oilers with these free agent signings. Yes, you can accuse me of carrying water for the Oilers GM or whatever that phrase is that everybody uses to justify Oilers fans going out there and thinking their GM's always doing the right thing. Guess what? These are moves that needed to be made long ago. If Peter Chiarelli would have made these moves, we would have praised Peter Chiarelli. And here we are, getting the moves we need. You can talk about the moves Chiarelli made, but these are heads and tails above any move Peter Chiarelli ever made for the Edmonton Oilers. And you look at this, right? That Tyson Barrie, that's the one that really stamps on that it was a good job by Holland. But I'm really a big fan of getting that right shot third line centerman that knows how to take a face-off and win more than 51% of the face-offs he takes. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then you have Tyler Ennis coming back at $1 million. Guys, how can you kid yourself that Ken Holland did not have a good free agency when Tyler Ennis goes out and has, over the past few years, what turns out to be a career year considering where he's been and what he's done the past several years. And now he earns a raise of what? He was on an $800,000 contract, so $200,000 more for this season after scoring 37 points in 70 games played this year. 37 points in 70 games played this year. So you want to translate that. If he's allowed to play on the top line with Connor McDavid times 82, that's at least 45 points this season at the NHL level for Mr. Tyler Ennis on a 1-year deal. Guys, are you kidding me? You're upset that Zach Kassian's only going to score 45 points at $3.2 million. Well, guess what? If Tyler Ennis scores 45 points at $1 million, oh my goodness, I think Oilers fans are going to be fainting in their chairs when he hits that number, that's for sure. Kyle Turris, $1.65 million cap hit. I mean, seriously, count on the guy for about 30 points and you'll be gold. When's the last time we had a third-line centerman score 30 points and actually be a right-hand shot? I think, ask yourself that. Mike Smith, don't count on him to do anything special. Steady Eddie as it goes, okay, up to par kind of deal. We're not asking Mike Smith to be the guy that wins us the Stanley Cup. All right, get that through your head. It's not a fact that we're asking Mike Smith to lead us to the Cup. We're just asking Mike Smith to be the backup. And you know what? 1.5 for a backup in the NHL. We're spending a total of $6 million on goaltending. Done and dusted. There it is. We're not too bad. Alan Quine, a guy that might find himself in 2 NHL games this year. Same with Seth Griffith. If all fails Anton Forsberg might find himself in an NHL game or two this year. And at the end of the day, you have yourself, well, what is that? A total of 7 guys the Oilers signed in free agency. Add in Adam Cracknell, who will be a veteran presence on the farm club. And the Oilers have done some good depth, good organization leads, all for $10 to $11 million if you add in Cracknell against the Caps. So it's fantastic. Guys, I don't know how anyone can blame Ken Holland when he had $8.75 million in cap space and he comes away with Tyler Ennis, Kyle Turris, Tyson Barrie, and a backup goaltender in Mike Smith. I don't know, guys. I really don't think. If so, I believe there's a program at Athabasca University where you can learn hockey business, which is how to become an NHL GM. Essentially, that's what that program's meant for. I strongly suggest you go sign up for that course if you think you know how to do better with $8.75 million in cap space than Ken Holland. I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. I am up on out of here.